In the serene village of Séguillon, nestled within the majestic embrace of the French Alps, Sophie Colombe's life began in 1993. Her early years were painted with the colors of familial warmth and community spirit, shared with her parents and two elder brothers. Amidst the tranquil landscape, Sophie's heart beat to the rhythm of artistic ambition, finding solace in the melodies she created with her local music ensemble. Her dreams were expansive, reaching far beyond the alpine horizon. Sophie's journey of discovery led her first to Denmark, where she pursued studies in international business, and then to Germany for an enriching internship. Her unyielding quest for knowledge and experience soon carried her to the distant shores of Australia in 2013. Griffith University in Brisbane became her new academic haven, where she embarked on a master's program, accompanied by her devoted boyfriend. Yet, the sands of time were unkind, as his visa expiration forced a poignant separation, leaving Sophie resolutely alone to chase her aspirations. Faced with financial hardship, Sophie embraced a life of resilience, balancing various jobs to sustain herself. From waiting tables to imparting the beauty of the French language through private lessons, she shouldered these burdens with grace. Her living arrangements shifted, and she found solace in the camaraderie of university friends within a shared apartment. March 27th, 2000 late hours. Throughout the day, her digital correspondence with her boyfriend was routine, filled with the mundanity of everyday life. Yet as the day waned, her messages ceased, an ominous silence that would herald a harrowing chapter. Concerned by her uncharacteristic silence, her boyfriend scoured the digital landscape for answers, his heart heavy with foreboding. A stark image on the Brisbane Police Department's social media shattered any semblance of hope. Photographs of women's jewelry, hauntingly familiar, struck a chord of fear deep within him. These were Sophie's treasures, symbols of her life and identity. Racing against time, he contacted the authorities, his voice trembling as he identified the belongings. The revelation that unfolded was one of unspeakable sorrow. A homeless man's discovery in a nearby park had set in motion a cascade of events. A motionless figure cocooned in newspapers on a park bench had piqued his curiosity. As he approached, the stillness of the young woman became a chilling testament to tragedy. In that moment, Sophie Colombe's vibrant journey was silenced, leaving behind echoes that would reverberate across continents. Her story, etched in the annals of time, serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of dreams and the enduring impact of a life extinguished too soon. The scene was one of quiet despair, punctuated by a man's frantic actions as he called out and gently shook the woman beside him, hoping for any sign of life. Yet, there was nothing. The newspaper that had covered her slipped away, revealing an unsettling truth. Her hair was matted with blood, a stark testament to the violence she had endured. Desperation turned to urgency as he checked for a pulse. There was none. Panic surged through him, and he dashed off in search of help. When the officers arrived, the gravity of the situation became clear. The woman, now identified as Sophie, was dead. Her lifeless form was transported to the medical examiner, where a somber revelation awaited. The examination uncovered the grim details of her demise. Sophie had suffered a catastrophic head injury, the kind inflicted by a heavy, blunt object. Her body bore multiple abrasions, signs of a brutal struggle. More harrowing still, the autopsy confirmed she had been sexually assaulted. The investigators pieced together a chilling narrative. It appeared Sophie had been attacked mere yards from where she was discovered. Her assailant had then dragged her to a bench, shrouding her with newspapers in a futile attempt to conceal the crime. The ruse worked. For hours passed without anyone raising alarm. The park was a familiar refuge for the homeless, where finding someone asleep on a bench was not unusual. This tragic oversight meant Sophie's suffering went unnoticed. Medical experts estimated that the attack occurred the previous night. Sophie had not succumbed immediately. She lingered in a state of suffering for several hours, alone and unseen, as the world continued its indifferent march around her. A call for help might have altered her fate, but silence prevailed. When the police sent a photograph of the victim to Sophie's boyfriend, his worst fears crystallized into reality. It was her. Driven by a profound sense of urgency, detectives poured their resources into the investigation. Their primary goal was to recover Sophie's missing clothes and possessions, for when she was found, she wore only her jewelry. Despite a thorough search of the park and surrounding areas, they found no trace of her belongings, not a single clue to guide them. Determined, they retraced Sophie's final day, dissecting it hour by hour in a bid to uncover where her path had diverged into danger. CCTV footage provided glimpses of her last known movements. It showed her leaving her apartment that morning, boarding a bus bound for her university Thursday until it wasn't. At approximately 8:30 that evening, Sophie began her journey home. A classmate offered her a ride, but she declined, opting instead for her usual bus route. Security cameras captured her boarding the bus and later alighting at her regular stop. From there, she had to traverse a bridge over the river, a familiar path that cut through the park where her life would be tragically cut short. After that, the trail vanished into the night. The absence of further footage left detectives grappling with a void filled only by darkness and silence. A public appeal was issued, urging anyone who had been in the vicinity on that rainy night to come forward. Yet the storm had emptied the streets, granting her killer the perfect shroud of anonymity. Residents were asked to remain vigilant for any sign of Sophie's missing belongings, a plea that echoed through the community. In the quiet aftermath of violence, the search for answers continued. The investigation was a testament to the relentless pursuit of justice, a quest to piece together the fragments of a life abruptly ended. As the world moved on, the shadows of that night lingered, a reminder of the fragility of life and the unseen battles that unfold in the hidden corners of our cities. In the end, it is the silence that speaks volumes, urging us to see what lies beyond the veil of the ordinary. The city of Brisbane found itself ensnared in a web of fear and uncertainty. The disappearance of Sophie's personal effects, her phone, tablet, handbag, and umbrella, added layers of complexity to an already harrowing investigation. In an effort to uncover any trace of her, divers scoured the river that snaked through the city. Their search yielded an umbrella discovered a mile downstream, yet its ownership remained a mystery, eluding confirmation. As the tragic news of Sophie's murder unfurled, a wave of apprehension spread across the city. The authorities, while striving to maintain order, were unable to dismiss the chilling possibility that Sophie's assailant might strike again. This uncertainty cast a shadow over Brisbane, a city now gripped by fear. The gravity of the situation was compounded by a grim statistic. Sophie was the fourth international student to meet a violent end in the city within a scant few months. Officials were adamant that these cases were not interconnected. However, in the minds of the public, a different narrative took shape. A pattern seemed to emerge, unsettling the community and heightening the tension that crackled through the air. In the midst of this turmoil, detectives embarked on an exhaustive examination of surveillance footage. Every camera lens near the park where Sophie was last seen was scrutinized, each frame analyzed for clues. Their diligence eventually bore fruit. A man captured on film, haunting the arborescence, was conspicuous not merely because he was seen twice near the park, but because he remained an enigma, an unknown figure who defied the numerous police appeals for witnesses to come forward. His silence was deafening, a void that spoke volumes. Despite the torrential rain that night, other individuals had come forward, recounting their passage through or near the park. Yet this man remained nameless, his identity a blank space in the narrative. Determined to unravel this mystery, investigators traced his movements through the city's intricate network of CCTV. They watched as he entered a subway station, traveled several stops, and then vanished as if swallowed by the city itself. Yet, detectives were not without their theories. Perhaps he had made his way towards the airport, seeking to escape Brisbane's grasp. With this hypothesis in mind, they returned to the park, canvassing the area for anyone who might have encountered this elusive figure. Their persistence was rewarded when a witness came forward, recounting an encounter with a man known only as Ben. This witness had shared drinks with him on the fateful night of Sophie's death. The man, he claimed, was residing at a homeless hostel notorious for its rough clientele, a refuge for those recently released from incarceration, with nowhere else to turn. When officers presented the hostel staff with a photograph from the surveillance footage, recognition was immediate and chilling. The man was identified as Benjamin Millward, a 25-year-old whose cis possessions suggested a hurried flight, a desperate bid to evade capture. The revelation of Ben's identity and his subsequent disappearance cast a new light on the investigation. It painted a portrait of a man fleeing from an unseen specter, perhaps the shadows of his own deeds. As the city of Brisbane grappled with the implications, a broader reflection emerged. The case of Sophie, entwined with the fates of other international students, served as a somber reminder of the fragility of life and the unseen threads that bind us all. In the quiet aftermath, the city pondered the delicate balance between fear and resilience, and the enduring quest for justice in the face of uncertainty. The shadows of the past often cast long and ominous silhouettes over the present. In this tale of crime, the figure of Benjamin Millward loomed large, eclipsing the innocence of a life lost too soon. It was only 8 days after the tragic demise of Sophie that the authorities, with a sense of urgency, unfurled the visage of their prime suspect to the public. The name and face of Benjamin Millward became etched into the collective consciousness, a call to arms for those who might hold the key to unraveling the mystery. As the investigation unfolded, the narrative of Ben's transgression. His criminal record was not a mere collection of isolated incidents, but a chronicle of escalating turmoil. In 2012, he had stepped out of the prison gates after serving time for assault, only to find himself ensnared by the shackles of his own actions once again. His brief said the air of liberty once more. Yet, freedom did little to alter the trajectory of his life. Minor offenses and theft marked his path, each act a testament to a life teetering on the precipice of chaos. As detectives delved deeper, the hostel where Benjamin resided became a theater of whispered recollections and testimonies. One resident recalled a night of excess where Benjamin, intoxicated by both alcohol and drugs, bore the demeanor of a man at war with his own demons. He had confessed to abstaining from drugs for a time, haunted by the specter of past misdeeds. The park at dusk became the backdrop for another encounter, where Benjamin was seen indulging in his vices, a prelude to a night that would end in tragedy. The man who witnessed this exchange chose to retreat, a decision that spared him from the unfolding storm. Hours later, the same eyes spotted Benjamin again, a figure of distress standing outside the hostel, his countenance a canvas of agitation and unease. As the police scoured the city, Benjamin's family found themselves thrust into an unwanted spotlight. Their disbelief was palpable, their voices a chorus of denial. They clung to the hope that he was incapable of such brutality, even as they acknowledged his absence since the fateful night. Their pleas for him to step forward echoed across airwaves, a desperate bid for clarity amid the confusion. Time, however, proved to be an elusive ally. Days turned to weeks, and the trail of Benjamin's whereabouts grew colder with each passing moment. The tendrils of the investigation reached across state lines, his image a specter haunting news outlets and police bulletins nationwide. Then, a flicker of hope emerged. In the serene confines of Balluna, a coastal town far removed from the urban sprawl, hotel staff reported a guest whose description bore an uncanny resemblance to Benjamin. This lead set the wheels of law enforcement into motion, their vigilance extending to neighboring towns. The anticipation of his next move hung in the air, a tension that was soon validated. In the coastal city of Coffsey Harbor, under the veil of night, two officers on patrol encountered a solitary figure. His appearance, a portrait of exhaustion and disarray, was unmistakable. It was Benjamin Millward. As the officers approached, the gravity of the moment hung heavy. Words were scarcely necessary, for the truth of his identity was evident in the weary resignation of his gaze. In that encounter, the relentless pursuit of justice found its quarry, and the story of Benjamin Millward reached a pivotal juncture. In the tapestry of human experience, the strands of choice and consequence weave an intricate pattern. Benjamin Millward's tale is a stark reminder of the shadows that linger in the recesses of the human soul, and the inexorable march of justice that seeks to dispel them. In the end, it is the pursuit of truth that illuminates the path, casting light upon the darkness that resides within. In the quiet suburb of Brisbane, a chilling tale unfolded, one that gripped the city in a vice of disbelief and horror. It began with the arrest of a man named Benjamin, a figure whose demeanor seemed eerily calm as he acknowledged his captors. The question posed to him by the officers was simple, yet profound. "Are you Benjamin?" His response was equally muted, almost as if the gravity of the situation had yet to penetrate his consciousness. Yeah, you got me," he replied, his inquiry about the internet suggesting an awareness of the digital trail that had led to his capture. Benjamin's arrest was devoid of drama. There was no struggle, no desperate attempt to flee. Instead, there was a resignation that hung heavy in the air, a tacit acceptance of the fate that awaited him. He was swiftly extradited back to Brisbane, where the wheels of justice moved with unrelenting speed. Investigators, armed with the incontrovertible power of forensic science, collected his DNA. The results were irrefutable. His genetic code matched the skin cells found beneath the fingernails of Sophie, the victim whose tragic end had reverberated through the community. The evidence was as stark as it was compelling. With Benjamin in custody, his lawyer faced a barrage of questions from the media, painting a picture of a client beleaguered by the weight of his actions, yet somehow maintaining his composure under the intense scrutiny. In the hallowed halls of the courtroom, Benjamin's demeanor was one of stark candor. He offered no denials, no convoluted tales to deflect blame. Instead, he confessed to the heinous crime of murdering Sophie, his words hanging heavy in the air. Turning to the grieving family, Benjamin sought forgiveness, a plea that was as unexpected as it was unsettling. Yet it was his subsequent revelation that left the courtroom in stunned silence. He recounted with chilling detachment how he had promised Sophie he would seek help after the brutal attack, a promise he never intended to keep. Instead, he left her to succumb to her injuries, alone on a cold park bench, as the rain fell mercilessly around her. His confession continued, revealing how he discarded her belongings into the river before making his escape from the city. His rationale for the crime was a murky haze of self-professed memory lapses, attributed to drug-induced fog. He recalled only disjointed fragments of violence and fear, claiming a loss of control. Yet the experts who testified were skeptical, asserting that the substances he consumed did not typically incite such calculated violence or facilitate a coherent escape plan. The investigators highlighted a chilling inconsistency: Benjamin's ability to navigate the aftermath with precision, purchasing train tickets, plotting his course, and evading capture. Such actions suggested a clarity of mind that belied his claims of intoxication and confusion. The court, unmoved by his defenses, delivered its verdict: a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 2 decades. An additional 15-year sentence for sexual assault was imposed, though it was to run concurrently, leaving the door ajar for Benjamin's potential release before reaching the age of 50. In the aftermath of the trial, Benjamin's mother broke her silence, publicly attributing her son's actions to the influence of drugs, exonerating his sober self. Her words, though intended to absolve, only added to the complex tapestry of grief and anger that enveloped the city. The swiftness of the legal proceedings did little to assuage the community's sense of loss. Sophie's death sparked a wave of outrage throughout Brisbane, with residents clamoring for enhanced safety measures in the park where her life was so brutally ended. The tragedy also cast a harsh spotlight on the local hostel, which had been providing shelter to recently released offenders, including those with violent pasts. The community's call for accountability underscored a broader societal debate on the responsibilities of monitoring and rehabilitation. As time moved inexorably forward, the memory of Sophie's life and the circumstances of her death lingered, a somber reminder of the fragility of safety and the enduring quest for justice in a world shadowed by darkness. In the heart of Brisbane, women began to voice their own encounters with harassment, sharing tales of unease and fear within the confines of a park that seemed devoid of law enforcement presence. The absence of police patrols echoed in their stories, amplifying a communal sense of vulnerability. In response, candlelight memorials emerged across the city, illuminating the night with a collective grief and solidarity. A march was organized, drawing over 2,000 individuals who retraced the steps Sophie Colombe should have taken safely home. In somber silence, they carried candles, a flickering tribute to a life unjustly cut short. This poignant procession was not just a remembrance, but a powerful statement against the pervasive fear that shadowed their community. Sophie's funeral unfolded in her native France, amidst the serene embrace of the Alps, where her childhood unfolded. Her village, home to only 1,500 souls, witnessed an unprecedented gathering of nearly 1,200 mourners. The town had not seen such a congregation since the farewell of a cherished mayor. The sheer number of attendees spoke volumes of the impact Sophie had, as 8 condolence books brimmed with messages of love, stories of her kindness, and prayers for peace. Sophie's narrative transcended her tragic end, evolving into a clarion call for societal change. It underscored the imperative that no individual should traverse their path homeward under the shadow of fear. In this collective mourning, there was a resolute demand for a world where safety is a right, not a privilege. and where the streets are as welcoming as the homes they lead to.